Hello everybody and welcome to machine learning part 6. So in this video we're going to be creating a basic neural network. So what this neural network will do is that it will be able to recognize intentions of what the user wants. So let me give you guys a demo of what we will be building. So as you can see here we have an intent recognizer. So what this intent recognizer does is that when a user types a message, it recognizes the intention of what the user is trying to say. So for example, if I say book a flight, and then as you can see it predicted the intention that the user wants to book a flight. So now for example over here I could do hello, and it predicted the intention again that the user wants to greet. So this model can actually also generalize. For example, it was actually never trained on greet, but it can still, never trained on hello, but it can still do it. And also if I say hey, as you can see, it can still recognize greet, and we could still add more examples and make our intent recognizer extremely smarter. So, but I just kept a few examples for demo purposes. So we'll be using the sklearn library. We installed these in previous um, parts for the machine learning series. So this code is also on GitHub. I'll put the link in the comments. And I'm going to be going through the code of how to create this. So over here, first what we're doing is we're importing our libraries, the sklearn pipeline, our TFID vectorizer, and our linear model. So what this linear model is for the pipeline that we're going to be using here, and it's a text classification linear model, so we'll be using it for that. So now this is a function over here to clean the text. So it takes one parameter text. So when our model gets things like these, it needs for it to understand, we need to remove some unnecessary things that the model does not need. For example, what this does here is that this read library over here that we're using, it removes all the punctuation things from the text, and then lastly returns the text. And also we put the text in lowercase for the model to understand. And over here we have our training data, all the intentions. So we have variable training data, hello, and then the model recognizes, the model will think that this is greet, and then hi, greet, hey there, and then we have a book flight. And the more examples we add, the more smarter our model will become, and it will start to generalize more, meaning it will start answering to unseen questions better. So over here we're splitting the data. So this text is the user's input, and then the label is the model's output. And we're cleaning the text for each text in this text. We're cleaning it for the model to understand. And over here, as you guys can see, we have a pipeline for the model that, as I mentioned earlier, that we'll be using this linear model and this pipeline to create a pipeline. I think we did this in previous videos too. So we just defined the pipeline. We have our vectorizer. So what this vectorizer does is that it converts text into numerical representations. And then it also has the words that we're going to be using English. And we could change it to any language you want. And then we have our linear regression model. So now what this does is that it trains the model. So this text is the user's input, the labels is the model's output. So it fits it. Basically, the fit is a built-in function in the sklearn to iterate through it and train the model. It iterates through this training data that we have over here, and then it trains the model. So this will be text, and it says for this text, the output for the intent will be this label, and then it will just iterate through it just like that. So that's what this fit function is meant for. And over here we have an interactive input loop. So it says this is just a message over here. Intent recognizer is ready. Type a message, exit to quit. So I also forgot to tell you guys. So let me run this. This takes time to start it because it needs to train the model. And also if I type exit here, it just says goodbye. So we have a message here saying exit to quit. We have a while loop, so meaning the chat will continue unless the user breaks it by typing exit or quit, or the user does Control C. So we have our user input here. So if the user input in lowercase is exit or quit, we're gonna print goodbye, and we're gonna break the chat. And then over here we're gonna clean the text. We're gonna clean the user's input, and the intent will be pipeline.predict cleaned 0. So what's happening here is that this is actually a core part. So it's saying that the intention will be that this pipeline that we're defining here, it will actually predict It's not 100% sure. It will predict what the intent is, right? Because it's not a real human, it just simulates human understanding, but yeah, it could predict. And over here we have the 0, because which is basically this user input over here. And then we just print the predicted intent and the intent over here. We're just calling it f string to call this variable inside this print function. And then once we do that, it should work. So yeah, I think this is pretty much it for this video. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll put the code to the GitHub in the comments and in the description. So like the video if it was good, subscribe if you haven't, and I'm going to see you guys in another YouTube video.